Hello everyone, I had a taste for some butter beans, so this is how I decided to make them today. I soaked the butter beans the night before, so about 8-9 hours or so they soaked in the water, the dry beans. Then you'll see here that I'm just giving them a good rinse after they had soaked the night before. And then once they're rinsed and I don't see any issues with the beans, any bad looking ones, then I proceed to going ahead and getting them on the stove to boil. And all in all, this took me about 5 hours for them to cook. Yeah, it took a long time. With dry beans, for some reason, it takes longer for them to cook, but it was worth it in the end. And here I'm just chopping up some Holy Trinity, as some people probably refer to it as. I like to at least have celery, onion, and bell pepper in most of the things that I cook. But in addition to that, I also did some green onion and some garlic as well for flavor. So I did one yellow onion that I'm chopping up here. And then I'm doing half of a red onion because it was pretty large. And I'm going to save that other half probably for another meal I'm going to cook later in the week. So I usually just wrap that up in some foil after I've washed it and dried it, and then just put it in the refrigerator in the crisper, and it'll usually keep for a good amount of time. So there I'm chopping up the red onion. I got that all chopped up. And as you can see, the beans are getting hot. So usually you want to cook them, start them off like on about medium heat, I'd say, to get them to start a boil. And here I'm prepping the garlic, getting it peeled, and then eventually I'll get it rinsed off. The beans have boiled at that point. And so now after the garlic, I'm getting the green and red bell pepper ready. That will be chopped as well. And really with things like beans, it doesn't really matter. Like I usually just do like a standard dice or chop, just kind of coarse. And then there's some celery there, so same with the celery, just do a standard chop. It doesn't have to be too small because once it goes into the boiling water, it's all going to disintegrate anyway. So and there I put in a few tablespoons of butter into the beans, stirred that up really good, and then I get started on that green onion. The beans are at a boil at this point, so I'm adding in my onion, then my bell pepper and celery, then my green onion, stirring that in. And then finally I'm using my garlic press to put in my garlic. And that saves some time, so that way I didn't have to try to chop or mince it. Gave everything a nice stir. Let everything come to a boil. I added just some seasoning and herbs. So you'll see some dehydrated green onion, chives, chili powder, cumin, creole seasoning. But what you'll notice is I did not add anything with salt in it. So actually I did hold back on the creole seasoning till much later, because that does contain salt. And reason being, with beans, especially dry beans, you want to wait towards the end of cooking before you add the salt. So that way you can ensure your beans are nice and tender and everything. So basically just herbs, granulated garlic powder, onion powder. You know, I tried a little turmeric in there, oregano, basil, whatever you want really. I put like half of my spice cabinet in there, but that's just what I like to do, because I'm a big flavor person. And now, time to get started on that cornbread. So I preheat my oven, heated up a little olive oil in my cast iron skillet, and then I put in 3 boxes of Jiffy mix honey cornbread. And then of course there's the 3 eggs. And then I put in my 2% milk, and then I start whooping. And you just start whooping that cornbread up. You don't have to whoop it too much, but just enough, you know, kind of break up the lumps and everything. And I add a little honey, a little extra honey, just for, you know, flavor, sweetness. You don't have to. I mean, it's already got honey in the mix technically, but. And then there's the olive oil that I heated up. I added that in there. Gave it another good mixing. Got the batter put in. And I put that in the oven on 350 for about 1 hour. My oven, I have convection mode, so it defaults to 325 even though I put it on 350. So it'll take about an hour. Beans are starting to release starch, and you can tell that based on them getting thick. Cornbread was looking good at that point. As the beans are cooking, I did occasionally add water here and there when the water level went down. So I continued to do that throughout the cooking process. A cup here, a cup or 2 there, whatever I felt was needed. And hot water you want to add in there. Bread's almost done. Yep, Alexa reminded me about the bread like I told her to. I added some carrots in here just for extra vegetables, because we love vegetables in our house. And I added some smoked ham, Hormel in the can. Added about 4 cans of that. And that's for flavor and just to have meat in there as well. So it's a well-balanced meal. You have starch, you have vegetables, you have meat. I added some of the Swanson's chicken stock in there. That'll help elevate the flavor profile some more. I did add salt. Of course, I did add some more black pepper, creole seasoning, a little bit more cumin. Just whatever I felt like it needed. So I've tasted this several times throughout the process. So there's goes some dehydrated green onion, some chives, some dehydrated garlic. And I just continue to mix and let the beans continue to get softer and softer. And that's it. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.